What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe with No Days Off DFS here to bring that NBA slate breakdown for the 7-game NBA slate. We got another 7-game slate. Excited to break this down. Like I told you guys, these middle slates where we're not having too many games are more of my favorite slates that I do like to break down, go over, and I feel like you have a much better chance in regards to actually cashing out on these slates. If you guys are new here and you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content that I'm putting out over here. And drop a like if you actually are enjoying the content. If you guys are looking for more stuff like player pool, props, betting picks, things like that, check the link down in the description below for the Dub Club. Right now, our Dub Club is free for No Days Off. You get a month for free when you sign up now. It's a promo for 100% off of it. Definitely check that out. Take advantage of it because I'm not too sure how long that promo will last and will be up. But definitely check that out. You're not only going to get my stuff, but you're getting my boy BK, who's going on a heater right now for his hockey and NFL picks and stuff that he's putting out. You're getting our boy Joris, who puts out a lot of betting picks whenever it comes down to NBA, hockey, all those things, and he hits at a very high clip with that stuff right there as well. And you're also going to get other breakdowns, DFS stuff, besides the stuff that I am putting out. We have other contributors over there, so definitely check that out down in the description below. You get a month trial for free. Just check us out, see what we're about. Last night, hopefully you guys did pretty good. Got the core put up, a pretty decent core. If you stack the games right, and I put it in my notes, was that there's definitely some value inside of that late game for the Portland game, which of course was pretty much the nuts. Portland in that game, and then Memphis, if you had the right piece from over there, you couldn't go wrong with Jaren Jackson Jr. or Desmond Bane, but it was Desmond Bane over Jaren Jackson Jr., which I did say that inside the breakdown when we were going over stuff yesterday. So that right there was pretty good. If you faded and didn't play Giannis and you played one of the other two studs like Luka or the Joker, you didn't do too bad right there, but they weren't necessarily needed. Was definitely a slate where you could have built mid-tier and had a mid build, which we talked about that on the stream yesterday. So and again today, I kind of feel like today is going to be more of the same, where you don't have to pay up necessarily for a stud, and a lot of people, they're priced pretty good in the mid range, and there's definitely some value that we can take advantage of here, especially just looking over everything for the slate. But all right, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna break this down, look at it, going over the injury report. We did just recently get some news. Let me refresh this, see if it's populated. No, it hasn't. All right, so Atlanta taking on the Pelicans. No news over there for Atlanta for any of their main guys. Only thing is just Kobe Buffkin. He's out, but not to worry about that. Over here for the Pelicans, we just need to know if BI is going to be in or out. If BI is out, then of course we're going to see Hawkins. He's going to be slid back into the starting lineup and bump Hawkins. Honestly, probably wouldn't even want to touch Hawkins with a 10-foot pole after the last time he went out there and just dudded and was straight shit. But considering the matchup going up against Atlanta, you kind of got to take it into consideration. Charlotte Hornets taking on the Pacers. We just got word that Tyrese Halliburton, he's a game time decision tonight. Granted, it is a back-to-back, and we know recently he was dealing with injury. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was to be held out for this game, but definitely we will want to get that news on whether or not if Halliburton is going to be in or not. Normally a late day addition to the injury report typically trends in the decision that yeah, he's probably going to be out, but they have him questionable for his ankle. So definitely pay attention to that because there will be some value, and this is a really juicy game right here with two fast-paced teams out there playing. Los Angeles Lakers, Rui, he is out, Hood is out, and we just got word that Prince is going to be out. So we should see Cam Reddish again in the starting lineup. That's what they ran last time, and I will be really interested, and we'll definitely have some pieces from this Laker game, and I'll get into that later when we actually go over to DraftKings and look at pricing and everything. For Orlando, Fultz game time decision. It's already been announced that Wendell Carter Jr. he will be out now, and Gary Harris, he's out with that groin injury. I believe this is what he got. Still, Orlando, they're pretty deep, but definitely some key players that we can key in over there. For the Kings, they are still without De'Aaron Fox, so we already know that Davion Mitchell, he will be in the starting lineup for them. And of course, you got Kevin Hurt and everybody else over there for them. And then for Houston, nothing really new except for that one of the Thompson twins, Amen Thompson, he is going to be out for them. But other than that, their main stars and everyone there, they're good to go and they are there. For Utah, no news for them. For Timberwolves, no news except for Clark, but that's nothing significant or important. Over here for Boston, the biggest thing is that Derek White will be out, so someone's going to be sliding into the starting lineup. Right now, they have it projected as Peyton Pritchard. I'm not too sure if Peyton Pritchard will actually slide into the starting lineup, considering that during the preseason, they play with Al Horford, mixing around with those lines, running a double big line with Kristoff and Al Horford out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Al Horford gets slid into the starting lineup and they just bump everyone up. Jaylen Brown plays the 2, Tatum back to the 3, Al, or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they actually ran. I'm not too sure about Peyton Pritchard, but this will be one of those things that we want to get clarity on if he's going to be in the starting lineup or not. For the Brooklyn Nets, they're still without Klassen, Cam Johnson, and it just came out that Ben Simmons, well, not just came out, but Ben Simmons will be out as well tonight. So we're gonna see some funkiness going on with them in regards to the lineups. Right now, they got Dennis Smith Jr. protected as the starter. I'm not really too sure. I would imagine maybe someone like Royce O'Neal can slide into the starting lineup, because technically you still have your point guard in Dinwiddie. You still got your two in Cam Thomas and Dinwiddie and Mikal Bridges. Could see Dinwiddie sliding and playing that power forward role. Mikal Bridges going back to the 3. That'll be that role. And then they've been having DFS. He has been somewhat so the starting center right there, but maybe they might decide to go with more size. You can get Daje Sharp or something like that. Either way, it's a smash matchup for Kristaps Porzingis going up against this whoever it is that they try to start. But I doubt that we see Dennis Smith Jr. as the starting point guard out there. He hasn't necessarily played big minutes, and just looking at the minutes and the rotations that the Brooklyn Nets run, I wouldn't be surprised if Royce O'Neal is actually the starter in this line. Over here for the Bulls, they're without Ayo. Everyone else, they're good to go. And then for Denver Nuggets, they're still without Kankar, and they are on a back-to-back as well. All right, going over to DraftKings, the site that we played most on, the site that has been pretty decent to us through other sports, and we're still waiting to get our takedown for the season. And I'm telling you guys right now, the takedown is going to come. This is like every night we get to play the NBA, so continuously just continue to try again. Looking at it, starting out with the first game, we got the Charlotte Hornets taking on the Pacers. Again, we will want to get that news from the Pacers. If this is ever a bounce back spot for LaMelo Ball to actually go out here and finally have that big game, that game that we have been waiting on for him to go out here and smack everyone up and down the court, today will be the day for him to actually be able to go out there and do that. Looking at it, he has a really great matchup where opposing point guard starters going up against the Pacers. They're averaging right around 40-ish fantasy points against them. Definitely should be a fast back and forth pace game. We know that Melo, he's been somewhat on a minute limit, so if we can actually get him to play 30+ minutes in this game, that'll actually help. And also, if he keeps himself out of foul trouble, would have a lot of interest in Melo. But of course, I will always come down to the savings and take Terry Rozier, who has been more steady and has been pretty consistent so far for the season. I like what we can get with Terry. We know he has the upside right there, scoring, rebounding, and assisting and playing some defense. I definitely do like that. Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, both second fiddles. If you even need to go there, mess with something, I would just rather go ahead and pay up for Gordon Hayward. I know I'm endorsing Gordon Hayward. Fucking hate him, but I would go ahead and just go ahead get into Gordon Hayward if you want to get there. He's healthy. He looks pretty good out there, so I wouldn't mind that. And this is definitely a bounce back spot, if any, for Mark Williams to go out here and have a smash spot game like what he did in the first game going up against the Hawks. I could definitely see Mark Williams coming out here and being able to do that, especially considering he's pretty athletic, can definitely get up and down the court. This might pay dividends for him. And I do have some interest in Brandon Miller off the bench. He's played pretty good over the first couple of games. I know that last game going up against Houston, only 24 minutes, dropped 19.25 fantasy points, but still, it seems like foul trouble really is what kind of hindered him in that game. A back and forth, fast-paced game. Definitely can see him getting there, especially if Melo gets himself into foul trouble again. They are liking what they're getting from the rookie, so I wouldn't mind going there for that. Over here on the Pacers side, again, like we said, Tyrese Haliburton, he's a game-time decision. If he's going to be out, then we should see Nembhard slide back into the starting lineup. And, of course, TJ McConnell will be into consideration. You can go with either one of these guys. I'll play the ownership game, like I always say. 5K and 5.3, not too much of a difference. Wouldn't mind just bouncing in between whichever one has the lower ownership. That's one I would rather go ahead and take. Miles Turner here in the spot going up against the Hornets. We know we can attack them with opposing centers, and he's coming off of a 46.75 fantasy point game in 30 minutes. Long as his minutes are not going to be limited, long as he can keep himself out of foul trouble, this is, again, another smash spot where we can see Miles Turner go out there and destroy and put up some pretty good numbers. Looked very good on the glass last night. Was one of my favorite plays out there for his rebounds. And as we've seen, opposing centers going up against the Hornets so far, none of them have dropped anything lower than 30+ fantasy points going up against them. All of them, 33, 44, 38, and 35 fantasy points. Again, another great spot, 6'7", really nice mid-tier value play for a center on the slate. Buddy Hield, not really interested playing off the bench. Bruce Brown will definitely have some interest if Haliburton is actually ruled out, and then you can take a GPP stab at Benedict Mathurin. This will definitely be one of those get right spots where we can get him to go out there and score like he's pretty much used to doing, especially if Hallie is going to be out. Now, going over here to the Lakers, I will more than likely have one of these Lakers in my lineup, maybe two, considering that they are short. And when I say they are short, like they are legit short. The rotation should be a short rotation because we saw last game with the fact that Prince, he was out, and they started Cam Reddish inside of his spot. Gabe Vincent already been ruled out. We know that. Rui's been out. Vando's been out. Yes, they have all the, and Hushai, and he's been out. They have all these other players, but they ran an 8-man rotation in that last game when they played going up against the Clippers. I understand this is Orlando, but Orlando, they're no slouch. They actually can play very well, and they played very well when they played against them the first time earlier this season. 106 to 103. The Lakers won by 3 in that game. Very close game. I say that short rotation, short bench. This is one of those teams that you're going to want to get a play from, or two, considering that you know that the players are going to have to play minutes. They are going to have to play minutes. And I know that last game going up against the Clippers, it went to OT, but still an 8-man rotation. That's pretty tight. LeBron James, I understand going back to him. Wouldn't mind. I understand he dropped 35.25 fantasy points in that game, but he has at least dropped 40 plus in several, he dropped 40 plus in, he dropped 40 plus in over half of the games that he's played already going to, on the season, and that minute limit that they quote unquote talked about for him, it's not there. So I wouldn't mind going to LeBron James. We know he's going to have to use his ball in his hand, a game on the road. Definitely, especially if we know that he's going to at least play 35-ish minutes. I will prefer Anthony Davis, considering that you're going to be going up against a backup center. Definitely AD, ball in his hand. We know he can smash them early for 66.25 fantasy points. I do not hate that, mind that. Mo Wagner, who should be the one starting at the center position for Orlando, definitely can get himself into foul trouble. Not the greatest defender in the world. So I definitely do not mind going to AD right here in that spot. D'Lo and Reeves, this is kind of a little bit big in order to try to play the ownership game. I will say Reeves finally bounced back in that last game against the Clippers. Went out there, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 3 steals, 15 points, 37.75 fantasy points. If you're telling me that he's finally found a stroke and actually can get out there and execute and play pretty good, I wouldn't mind going to Reeves. I will still kind of prefer D'Lo just because he looks different this season, playing very well, confidently out there. Going up against Orlando, dropped 46.5 fantasy points versus them earlier on the season, so I don't mind D'Lo at all. But I definitely will be looking at 1, maybe 2 of the main guys for the Lakers. And then I don't mind coming down to Cam Reddish, who we know he should start. He's going to be out there primarily for his defense, but a player that can stuff the stat sheet, has the defensive upside, can get you a couple of rebounds, a couple of assists, and put the ball in the bucket. We've seen he went 1 of 5 from 3. If that 3-point shot actually is hitting, let's say he goes 2 of 5. That's a little bit of a difference. He's dropping 30 fantasy points right there with the stat line that he has. Playing against Orlando, he only played 14 minutes, so he put up 0.5 fantasy point in that game right there. I do not mind going to him. Maybe he can actually get his scoring going this time going up against them, especially considering he will get more minutes and just out there really for his defense. I do like the upside, so I wouldn't mind taking the value on him. If you want to mess with Hayes or Wood off the bench, that's up to you. I'm not really going to mess with those guys. It'll be the main guys, the main focus guys that are going to get the run. Over here for Orlando, Paolo, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Mo Wagner, all these guys are going to be the main guys I would consider. If Fultz is out, then we're definitely going to be looking at Cole Anthony, Suggs. We know they're going to have to run the show with Fultz being out. Definitely want to pay attention to that, but he's questionable right now due to his left knee, so really need to keep an eye on that. Again, like I said, Wendell Carter Jr., he's out, so we will see Mortz. He should be the starting center. But he's a pretty decent fantasy point per minute, but he does tend to get himself into foul trouble. That's the only thing that I worry about with him. He played 11 minutes in that game going against the Lakers, gave us 5.75 fantasy points, picked up 2 fouls in those 11 minutes. So just if he keeps his hands to himself and he actually decent, I'm not going to say he's decent, but he's an okay 3-point shooter, playing out there with his brother. So don't mind if you want to mess with Mo out here on the slate, but not a must. And then if you think that they actually dust off Goga, then you can go right here to Goga. If he starts, he's a decent fantasy point per minute producer when he actually gets some burn and run himself as well. So I wouldn't mind that, but definitely pay attention to that. There might be some value over there on Orlando. Over here to Atlanta, taking on the Pelicans. We already know it's going to be the Trae Young, DeJounte Murray show out here for them. Trae, biggest thing with Trae, he really just hasn't had his 3-point shot falling like that for him. Once he gets that to fall, because he's already still giving us the assist, he's doing a little bit on the defensive side. He's getting a couple of rebounds, and he's scoring decently, but that's without his 3-point shot falling. We know Trae Young can go out there and drop 4 to 5 threes just like he's Steph Curry. So 9K, really do like the spot for him going up against the Pelicans. Might be a get right spot for him to actually drop a shot. But I don't mind coming down here to DeJounte Murray, who's sitting at 7-7, who's been just as productive out there. We know he has the assist, the rebounding, and the defensive upside. So either one of these guys don't mind. I will currently prefer DeJounte Murray because he is the better point per dollar play to me in my eyes. Clint Capella, not really going to mess with him here because you got Big Joe Val and Zion on the other side. Can see Clint getting himself into foul trouble right here. Jalen Johnson, if he gets to start again, I don't mind going to him, sitting at 5'6", decent mid-tier play right there, not too bad. And then Okongwu off the bench, we know he's going to at least play 20 plus minutes. And if we're expecting for Clint to get himself in foul trouble, or Okongwu, he can get himself in foul trouble as well. But if we're expecting Clint to somewhat get himself in foul trouble, I can see this being a game where Okongwu goes out there and just smashes in the time. He's a really great fantasy point per minute producer, sitting at 4.7. I don't mind the value of coming to Okongwu right here, especially if we're feeling like Clint gets himself in foul trouble and sitting at 5.8 when they practically are splitting, playing at least about 20 to 25 minutes each a game. Over here for the Pelicans, again, we got to know if B.I. is going to be in or out. He's missed the last 3 games. If B.I.'s out, then, of course, it's going to be CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson are going to be your main 2 that you're going to want to get to. We will see Hawkins slide back into the starting lineup at 4.9. I'd rather just go ahead and play Cam Reddish for the value that I can get and hope for the upside over there versus going over here to Hawkins. Or maybe just dropping down to Matt Ryan, who looks much better than what we've gotten from Hawkins in his time out there. And Ryan, we already know he's going to go out there and he's going to shoot threes. As long as the shots actually falling and hitting, he's definitely going to produce for you right there. Outside of that, you can take a stab at Valanciunas and GPPs, but really it's just going to be CJ McCollum and Zion Williamson will be the main 2 that I want to focus on, especially if Brandon Ingram is out. If Brandon Ingram is in, I still don't mind looking at Zion because it should be a pretty decent matchup for him right there, but not a must. Over here for Boston taking on the Nets, like we already talked about. They're going to be without White, so not too big of a hit, but maybe we could see some more assists like that for Drew Holiday at 6'8", going up against a pretty decent matchup against the Nets. I don't mind looking at Drew Holiday here. As we've seen, he's produced 1 big game with 43.5 fantasy points. Definitely has the upside to do a little bit more, but doesn't have to when you're playing with 2 studs in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And also, we can't forget Kristaps Porzingis. My favorite play out of the 3, of course, is going to be KP, the matchup. He has the matchup here. We haven't had a big game from him since he played against New York. And when I say big, I'm talking about that 45 plus fantasy point game. This could definitely be the spot. I see a double-double upside for him here. He literally will tower over everybody that they have out there on the court. Keeps himself out of foul trouble. Can definitely run up and down the court. I do not mind looking at KP here going up against the Nets. Not a must, but definitely a play that's worth looking at on the slate. And then you can mess with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Of course, Tatum, he's the leader. This is his team. So, of course, I wouldn't mind going to Tatum. But really just depends on what you want to go with right there on that position. But definitely Kristaps Porzingis is going to be the play for me over there. Over here on the Brooklyn Nets, taking on Brooklyn Nets on the other side. I would imagine just from looking at the Nets that it should be a tight rotation. Like I said, I would expect Royce O'Neal to start for Ben Simmons right there, sliding into that spot. And it should still be Cam, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, and DFS. DFS being and playing the center position right there. Maybe they can go to someone like a Watford off the bench or Daze Sharp. Either one of those guys, maybe they can fill in for that center spot, center position. If they actually let Daze Sharp start at the center, I don't mind him. He's a pretty good fantasy point per minute producer. As you can see, 15 minutes, 6 points, 10 rebounds in that last game going up against the Bulls. Would not hate that if they actually gave us that right there. And Sharp right now, he's sitting at 4,700. So pretty good price tag for him right there. Outside of that, not super interested in anybody over here for the Nets. Nobody really sticks out as a must play that I want to get to. Maybe you could take a stab at a Dorian Finney-Smith or Royce since they will start and they're going to be playing a pretty tight rotation. But nobody's a must. No one sticks out really for me over there. Going over to the next game, we got the Utah Jazz taking on the Timberwolves. It's just Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson will be the main 2. I will say Clarkson, his home and road splits have been pretty interesting. Paying attention to that. At home, as you can see, boom, boom, drop 30 plus, 20, 29, 30 fantasy point games. On the road, he's had 10 and 16. So maybe if you believe in home and road splits, Minnesota, they're decent at defending opposing guards. Maybe if you want to buy into that, I might not mess with Clarkson here on the spot. Might be a spot where we could go to someone like Taylor Horton-Tucker, who has played decent on the road so far this season, has been playing decent so far overall, or John Collins. The matchup should be tough for both of the bigs, well, all the bigs, honestly, going up against the Timberwolves with the fact that they have the Twin Towers. But for me, Lauri Markkanen will be the main one I'd actually look to. Other than that, not messing with too much there. Then over here for Minnesota, Karl-Anthony Towns should be a smash spot for him to actually go. The Jazz, they're giving up a lot of fantasy points to opposing power forwards. That's what Big Cat goes out there and plays. Maybe you can actually go out here and give us that 45 plus fantasy point game. I know that you can go out there and give us and price perfectly at 8K. Rudy Gobert has dropped down in price. He's down here at 6'6". When he was priced up in the 7K range earlier, dropped down to 6. Now, I don't mind that. I really don't hate going to Rudy. Coming off of worst shooting performance in regards to it, went 0-7 from the field. And if he actually shot what he's close to shot, close to 50%, probably would have gave us at least close to 35 fantasy points in this game. We know he still has the block and steal upside, and definitely is going to rebound, grabs all the rebounds in the world. So I wouldn't mind coming down here to Rudy down there at that 6'6" price tag. Then I would be wrong if I didn't mention Mike Conley sitting at 4.8. That's really low for Mike Conley in my eyes. Definitely a player that can go out there and give us 30 plus, especially in a good matchup against a young Utah Jazz team. I don't mind messing with Mike Conley. That is actually true value at 4.8. Nas Reed off the bench. Kyle Anderson, we know that they're both going to play. And then last one would be Jaden McDaniels. If you want to mess with him, we know he's going to play at least 20 plus just fantasy points, 20 plus this minutes, and he's given us at least 20 fantasy points in all of his games. And once that minute limit gets raised off of him, he's going to be a smash player to take in games. Going over here to the Sacramento Kings taking on the Houston Rockets. We already know that Fox is going to be out, so we should see Davion Mitchell, who went out there, he played 30 minutes and gave us 29.25 fantasy points. So maybe the curse has finally been broken for Davion Mitchell getting the start and not doing anything with it. If you want to go there to Davion, he is only priced at 4.8. I don't mind, don't hate going down there to him. But we do know Sabonis. This should be honestly a spot. Sabonis goes out here and just dishes and gets whatever he wants and has a field day and does pretty good. Don't mind playing Sabonis right there at that price. If I do pay up for somebody today, it would definitely be Sabonis would be prime consideration outside of Anthony Davis or Kristaps Porzingis. And then I wouldn't mind taking a stab at Malik Monk. 25 minutes, 26.75 fantasy points without Fox being out there. But we do know the usage that this guy gets whenever he comes off the bench. He is a firecracker and a scorer. And considering you're playing against a Houston team that doesn't really play defense, I definitely can see him going out there and lighting them up. And then, of course, last but not least would be Kevin Huerter. You could definitely take a stab there at Kevin Huerter if you want something else from the Sacramento Kings or Keegan Murray. Both of those guys are decent plays, mid-tier plays you can go down to. Over here for the Houston Rockets, really just Şengün is the main one, and Jabari Smith Jr. would be the two that I'd be looking at over here for them. Not too interested in Jalen Green, not too interested in Fred VanVleet. Both of them, mid plays, definitely GPP options, but I do like what we're finally getting from Jabari Smith Jr. Has looked much better over his last couple games, giving us 30 plus fantasy points in both of his games, and still just pricing that 5 to 6K range. I do like that 5.7. And then Şengün, I wish I could understand the minutes, the rotation, because him only playing 27 minutes against the Charlotte Hornet, one, pissed me off because I was very high on him. Two, just didn't make any sense considering that he had the matchup. He played great. I didn't see any reason why the dude was not on the court and played less than 30 minutes. Made no sense whatsoever. Don't know what the heck they're doing down there, but I will be remiss if I didn't say Şengün, another good spot. Wouldn't mind playing him. Probably won't find myself getting there just because I am a little ticked off about the last game that they played. Last game on the slate is going to be the Denver Nuggets taking on the Chicago Bulls. Again, as always for the Bulls, look at the ownership, decide who you want to go to between them. I want to say last night, DeMar DeRozan was the lowest projected in regards to ownership, and he should have been the one that actually had a decent game. All three of them didn't do bad, but of course Zach LaVine was the one that popped off for 43.75 fantasy points. So again, back to back for them. Same thing for the Nuggets. Don't mind either of them. Nobody over here is a must for me. Over on the Denver side, I do like Michael Porter Jr. I think this is a spot where we could see him actually popping off again. Jamal Murray, Joker, you can't go wrong with either one of those guys. I don't hate or mind going over there to them. All right, guys, that's going to be breakdown. You guys got any questions or anything for me, talk to me down in the comment section. Hit me up inside of the Discord. Like I said, check down below for the Dub Club. It's free right now. Go ahead, join up. And, yeah, good luck for you guys. Hopefully you guys cash out. I'll be dropping my player prop list soon on the Dub Club. Again, it's free. Peace.